Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome to the unboxing and review of the Luna Soul Tarot by Darren Spill and Mike Medaglia. I've been following Mike Medaglia on Instagram for a while, and I love his artwork. I mean, talk about being an inclusive deck is this one. Now, just a quick little shout out to other artists out there. I'm in love with inclusive decks. So this is definitely one of them. If you're looking for other inclusive decks, by inclusive, I mean queer decks, decks that have people of color, decks that have people that are disabled or differently abled. This is definitely one of those decks. Also, the This Might Hurt Tarot is one of my absolute favorites when it comes to inclusivity. And my top favorite when it comes to inclusivity is the Modern Love Tarot. Just the box itself, you can see why. But these decks are definitely queer, inclusive, people of color, all religions, creeds, beliefs, races, all that beautiful things that make us human, that make us a collective, that make us just united. All right, now, this is about the Luna Soul Tarot, so let's talk about it. I absolutely love the box. Very, very sturdy, beautiful box. Here we have Mike Medaglia's some artwork kind of going all around. Just really, really beautiful. Now this box is interesting because I'm familiar with a box opening up like this, right? When they're magnetic, or like my Rider-Waite-Smith, a tuck box like this. Now this one opens from the bottom. It is magnetic, but it opens from the bottom. Then you have Liminal 11, which is the publisher. I believe these guys, they own founders of Liminal 11. So there you go. Now it opens up from the bottom, and then you have almost like another box in it. Look at that beauty. Now there is no top on it, so I'm gonna cover it so we can see the artwork and not have all the contents spill out. Now look how beautiful. It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards. This quote to me is so genius because I think most people kind of have heard that hindsight, what is it saying? Hindsight is always 20/20, meaning that when we look back at certain memories, at certain things, we see things more clearly, don't we? But it's tough to see things clearly when we're in the situation, when we're in a challenge. We always see the lessons, we always see with more clarity when we're looking backwards. So this quote, it's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards. I think it's brilliant. So here we have the inside. We have these I know it's a moon, but it's kind of stretched, and then you have, of course, the Liminal 11 logo in the back. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Love this box. Now here's the box within a box. There's no lid, so this is kind of like the lid. Everything slides out this way. And then here, so I love that the inside of this one is the moon, right? Of course, the Luna. This is the soul, the sun. I mean, they did such a great job with this deck. I absolutely love it. It's honestly one of my favorite decks already. So we have the little book, the Luna Soul Tarot. Now this book is beautiful. It's hardcover. It's a hardcover book. You never really kind of see that, which, doesn't matter, but it's just a really beautiful touch. You have some of the Mike's artwork. You have the inside of the book. A little dedication here, that's cute. You have your, what do you call it? Your index, a bit of a forward, introduction, the major arcana. So if this, and then it goes directly into the meanings. So for the majors, you get a page each. Actually, you get a little quote, which I appreciate, and then you have 2 or 3 paragraphs of the meanings of the cards. So I love that. And it's in full color. How gorgeous is that? Then we get into the minor arcana. Now, the minor arcana, you don't get a whole lot, but you do get a paragraph. that's very explanatory of what the card symbolizes, what it means, and all that. And it does the same thing for all the suits. Here are the swords. I do love how it indicates what suit you are just by the artwork. We got into the discs. Oh, I love that. How to read cards. A few gentle tips. So for example, number 1 is practice, practice, practice. Number 2 is when reading a spread, look for the relationship between cards as much as the individual cards. So, and you got some spreads here as well. So if this happens to be your very first tarot deck, actually, let's read this. In between black and white is not gray. It is all the colors in the world. I love that. In between black and white is not gray. It is all the colors in the world. I absolutely agree with that. And if you're an art major, you know what this is talking about, just out of color theory. But I love that. Talking about inclusivity and the rainbow and queerness and just like what makes each human unique and different. Now, as I was saying, if this is your first deck, while this book is really thin, it is so helpful and it will help you with your readings. Now, let's get to the cards. Look at these backs. Of course, you have the Luna and the Soul. Now, of course, as we've already seen, they're not reversible. So if you do play with reversals, you're going to have to be okay with cards looking like this. It doesn't bother me. But I know some of us out there do have a bit of a pet peeve when it comes to non-reversible backs. Now, the cardstock is amazing. It's not super stiff. It is bendy, but not too bendy. Like, it's a really good, sturdy, thick cardstock. Now, I will show you guys all 80 cards. Yes, there are 2 extra cards in here. So I'm going to show you all the cards. If you don't want to see all of them, if you want to be surprised, you can skip this part altogether. You can double tap your screen. I believe it skips about 10 seconds at a time. Or you can just use your mouse and just like slide to wherever you want to. Okay, so let's get started. We have the Fool. Now, I do love how they included, so there is the Rider-Waite-Smith system, but they also included some of the Thoth system in here as well. So it is a hybrid of the 2 systems, which I love. I'm a big fan of hybrids because I love the Thoth system as well. I work with both systems. So when I get a deck like this that is hybrid, I'm all about it. All about it. And I didn't know that this is going to be a hybrid like that. Now, I am so in love with the artwork. I really am. The colors, it's funny because I don't want to say they're muted because it doesn't do them justice, but they're also not like super vibrant like some other decks out there. But every color is just so beautiful. And it does create a bit of a serenity when you're reading this deck. Like, this deck is very colorful, very beautiful, very serene. At least for me anyway, maybe for you is you're having a different experience, and that's okay. Whatever experience you're having is perfect. That's how the tarot speaks to you, through your own experiences. But for me, it does give a serenity feel. Now, having said that, I have read with this deck a few times. I put the cards back in order for this unboxing and review, but I have used this deck a few times for clients, for myself, and it does not shy away from the truth. Even though I said it's like serene and peaceful and beautiful, it will tell you like it is. Absolutely, which is what I look for in a tarot deck. But like, you have the sun and moon, like, kind of opposites thing going on, which I love. Oh my God, we just went through one. Oh, here we go. We got the sun and moon thing in the background going on as well. I mean, I love that. We got the devil, This devil is looking a little sad. We got the tower. See this eyeball with the lightning and all that. Like, this is very Thoth style, which I love. Again, like I said, I work with both systems, so I appreciate that very much. Beautiful sun with a unicorn. I love that. We have judgment. Now, I love this judgment. For some reason, these eyeballs, they felt to me like a strike of genius. And I'll tell you why. Because as you can see, he's got two eyeballs looking upwards, which means that he's looking up to the heavens. He's got two eyeballs looking down, looking and seeing everything on earth. He's also got two eyeballs closed, which means he's looking within. Talk about judgment, talk about ascension, talk about beyond illusion is what judgment is. To have this in it, for me, I was like, holy crap, yes. Like, what a genius. Little detail, but genius. Anyway, that was just my moment with the deck when I first got it. Ace of Wands, Two of Wands. And I do love how he puts the astrological symbols as well. So it's Mars and Aries, the Two of Wands. I don't think it's in all of the cards, because I'm looking at the Three of Wands. I'm trying to find what the astrological reference is, but I'm not finding it right now. We got a Four of Wands celebration, 5. Now I want to go back just for 1 second, because I just want to show you guys, because it is a review anyway. The 5 and the 7 of Wands to me look very similar. And here's why. Maybe because this is only my opinion, so you don't have to vibe with me. You can say, dude, shut up. But the 5 of Wands, I get. It's about struggle. It's about a competition. It's about a strife. Now the 7 of Wands is actually more about standing your ground and having the higher ground. So I get that she has the higher ground. However, all these other wands are coming from the top. If they were coming from the bottom, I would have appreciated that more. To me, visually, it would make more sense. But again, my opinion. But it's still such a gorgeous image that I'm like, who really cares, right? I'm really not that pressed by it. 9 of Wands. 10 of Wands, love that. Burdens. The Page. And I kind of want this coat. Knight of Wands. The Queen and the King. Now we're moving on to the Cups. Beautiful Lotus. Oh, this Two of Cups is one of my favorite Two of Cups of all time. It's so beautiful. Four of Cups, beautiful, ornate ones. Then you have a simple one, but the simple one is sacred, isn't it? I don't know, I just love that. The simplicity of these cards, but such depth to them. 6 of Cups, 7, trying to keep a head above water, confusion, yeah. 8. And 10 of Cups. Oh, how beautiful is that? We have the Page, the Knight, the Queen and her beautiful throne, holding like an obsidian crystal ball, and the King of Cups in their wave throne. Ace of Swords. This is very Thoth as well. Like I said, you know, it's a hybrid. 2 of Swords. I love how the swords are kind of weathered. 3 of Swords, of course, iconic image of the heartbreak. 4 of Swords. The swords are now in their sheath. They're chilling out. Time to rest. Five of Swords. See what I mean? Like, it is, especially in this image, and I think that the swords are just, they kind of go from bad to worse, especially in images as well. But this can be a little bit shocking, right? Especially when you look at the rest of the deck. And it's so beautiful, full of rainbows and full of beauty and inclusivity. Then you have this one that's very harsh, you know. But this deck, again, with the imagery, with the colors, it gives me a serenity, peaceful feeling, but it doesn't shy away from the truth. And it doesn't shy away from what you really need to hear. This Eight of Swords is genius, isn't it? The feeling of isolation that this creates. Nine of Swords, yeah, stress, anxiety, depression, sleepless nights. Even the Ten of Swords kind of gives me a little peaceful feeling, even though he's got a really bad migraine. We have a Page of Swords. We got our Knight. Queen, look at her, she's looking pretty badass. And now we're King. Moving on to the Ace of Discs, that's what they call it here on this deck, sometimes called Pentacles. The Two, of course, yin yang, that's what it's about. Duality and bringing together. Three of Discs, finding equilibrium. Four of Discs, interesting, because it's about like, you have to let something go in order for you to get in, right? There's a key right there. Because the Four of Discs is about holding on to tightly to things and not wanting to let them go. But at what cost? Five of Discs. Now, this one is not my favorite. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful image. But Five of Discs, to me, speaks of lack. Speaks of loss. Speaks of like poverty. And this guy doesn't really feel poor to me, right? He's got all the discs. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just visually, I'm like, okay, you've got all the discs. So where's the lack here? Where's the loss here? Only, you know, my opinion, maybe for you, you're like, bro, I see it so clearly. But for me, I haven't quite seen it yet. But I know what it means, and I just because of one card that I don't agree with, I'm not going to throw away the whole deck that I find to be absolutely stunning, right? Because everything else, I'm like, oh yes, right as rain. It's great. Eight of Discs, of course, work, right? Perfected skill. Nine of Discs, beautiful. And the 10 of Discs, happy family. We got Page, the Knight, our beautiful Queen, and the King. And here we have the two extra cards. So this one is called Wu Wei, which I believe it roughly translates into like free flow, effortlessness. So it's kind of like when you get this deck in a reading, it's like, this card. It's like be in the flow, be in the effortlessness. Almost like a river running, you know, the water running down the river. It's like there's no effort there, it just runs. And then final card is Duality. Of course it is. You can't have a Luna Soul Tarot without Duality. So that was it. That was the end of our unboxing. These are the backs. Just stunning, gorgeous backs. So I'm in love with this deck. I hope you are as well. Of course, honest opinion, one of my top 5 decks for sure. We can always all agree with some of the imagery, but that's just my opinion. Maybe for you, you were like 100% in, and so am I, to be honest. All right, guys, have a beautiful day out there. Thank you so much for joining me in the unboxing of the Luna Soul Tarot. See you later.